Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of Max and Nicky 1000 Time Reactions,
where we react to a song after listening to it for our 1000th time.
We release a video every day,
7 days a week.
So please click that subscribe button
and ding that post notification bell
so you don't miss out on any of our content. What are we going to listen to right now, Nicky?
We're going to listen to Cats in the Cradle by Harry Chapin.
Classic tune right here. If you're new to the channel, what we like to do here is listen to the song all the way through without stopping so as not to disrupt the intention of the artist. And then afterwards, we'll discuss our reactions, go into some in-depth analysis, and talk about some of the history about the song and the artist if we should know anything about it.
Also want to mention that we have another YouTube channel called Max and Nicky, on which we perform oldies, tunes, jazz standards, and originals in that vein.
And we got comedy videos on there as well, so take a look at that channel if you're interested. But for right now, let's take a listen to Cats in the Cradle by Harry Chapin.
For our 1000th time.
Here we go.
A child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking for I knew it. And as he grew, he'd say, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. My son turned 10 just the other day. He said, thanks for the ball, Dad, come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw? I said, not today, I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay, and he walked away, but his smile never dimmed. Said, I'm gonna be like him, yeah, you know I'm gonna be like him. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, the little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. Well, he came from college just the other day, so much like a man I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you, can you sit for a while? He shook his head and he said with a smile, what I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later, can I have them, please? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. You know we'll have a good time then. I've long since retired, my son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I can find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids are the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's been sure nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. We're gonna have a good time there.
And no matter how many times I listen to it, I still get the goosebumps from it, you know, especially at the end there, you know, when he says, you know,
He grew up just like
my
me.
boy is just like me. He grown up just like me. Gosh, it just, God, what a poignant. Just all the lyrics are so great in this song. I mean, it's really, you know what? It reminds me of the
Well, I
Giving
will
Tree.
say,
Actually,
I do want to comment a little bit on the lyrics, though. I think he rhymes day a few times. I know he says away and day a couple times at least.
That's all right.
I don't know. I
That's
just
all
thought,
right.
you know.
Max was writing, revising the lyrics to his musical recently, and in a couple songs, he did not want to repeat any words. And I'm
No,
thinking,
I didn't say that. I didn't say I didn't want to repeat any words. I just thought when you start to repeat rhymes, though, I mean, you can repeat them every now and then, but when you repeat them within the same song, sometimes that can, I mean, unless there's an intention behind repeating that particular rhyme, sometimes it can lead to it getting a little stale, you know, I feel a bit. You know, and it didn't feel that way on this song, although I did kind of, I guess my brain was attuned to that a little bit more on this time around listening to it. But anyway.
but you know, it's a very well produced song too. I mean, all the instrumentation. I don't what's going on there in the beginning, where he's playing the, you know, acoustic guitar, steel string, but you hear this other noise. Bing, bing, you know, that kind of noise.
What do you mean?
Is that?
No, I think it sounds like a sitar is being played in this song as well, you know?
Maybe, yeah.
Down, 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 down. I think that's a sitar. I just wanted to look it up actually and see if here. Well, anyway.
Well, there's lots of cool things. I love when the string, you know, first you hear this cello in the beginning come in on the left side, and then you hear this violins coming on the right side, and then you hear other violins come in the middle. It's pretty cool.
Well, yeah. No, you hear the cello. Is that what you said?
That, yeah.
And then the violins here, and then the middle. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And you know what the violins have this sort of there's a kind of a brusqueness to it, you know, if you will. It's not like there's not like a lush. It's not like this sort of romantic kind of strings, you know. It has.
What does it remind me of? The sound of that.
It has a little bit of it almost sounds a little Western in a way. You know what I mean?
Right, something like that. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
But man, it's just very. Even when the bass and the drums come in, the kick drum is very clear and clean. I really like the sound of the kick drum in this song. It's a very well produced song.
Sure. I was just looking this up. Apparently, the song had been inspired by a poem written by his wife, actually, from her about her ex-husband's relationship with his son. Oh no, sorry, with his father rather.
You know, Harry Chapin, he actually died at a younger age. I think
he did
in the early 80s, if I'm not mistaken.
Harry Chapin died. Yeah, he did die in 1981.
Yeah, he was
38 years old.
Wow,
didn't
young.
Make it to 39.
I can't remember how he died.
I'm not sure. I can look that up right now.
Why don't you look that up? Yeah, I guess it was a car accident.
Yeah.
But
oh boy, God,
you know,
so
he
sad.
actually, if I'm not mistaken, and it might be something else. I think he and I want to say Harry Belafonte, sometime in the 70s, had discussed starting doing sort of an organization to help underprivileged people or in different parts of the world.
And is that
that's what
USA
kind of
for
led
Africa?
to USO for Africa.
USA for Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounded like you said USO.
Yeah, USA for Africa.
It's a different thing.
Because I think I was watching Harry Belafonte accept an award, I think, at the Grammys or the American Music Awards, and he thanks Harry Chapin. He talks about how he and Harry Chapin had talked about starting this thing, but unfortunately, Harry Chapin died before he actually got to see the fruits of his sort of thoughts, I guess you could say. I think that's what it was. I think it was Harry Belafonte and Harry Chapin. Harry Chapin. I know there was something that he had wanted to do, and maybe it was with somebody else. But I think it was with Harry Belafonte.
I was trying to look it up. I mean, it's not told on Wikipedia whether or not that was a sitar. I just kind of wanted to see that. But it sounds like it, though. It sounds like it. Again, these lyrics are very poignant. I mean, I'm sure there's very relatable, especially I think around this time for a lot of, for one, in the 70s, I'm sure a lot of kids that grew up in the 70s were a lot of, latchkey kids. That was kind of a big thing. I'm sure they could probably relate to the song. But also, even before that, I mean, fathers were not, I would say not always, but in general, they weren't as hugely as, I mean, this is kind of the depiction, at least we see in media all the time, that a fatherly role was not as present and in the lives of their children as much as they are, you might think of them as now, I think. Right?
Could be, yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on.
I guess it depends on the. I guess it depends on the circumstances, I guess, of your life. I suppose
maybe it was more rare back then.
But I think maybe. I mean, look, it wasn't. Back then, it took some time for fathers to be present in, when the child was being born.
Sure. Well, you can watch. Look at Death of a Salesman, for example. It's. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that takes place before this song came out, but the idea of a traveling salesman is always on the road and isn't with the family all the time. That seemed to be pretty commonplace, especially in the first half of the 20th century.
Well, even if you take a look at something like, I know these are works of fiction we're talking about, but even something like, if you look at Mad Men, for instance,
sure,
Don Draper is there as part of the head of the family, but he's not very present that much in his children's lives, and he's off doing, it's not just his job that keeps him away. He's doing, whatever,
sure,
whatever he kind of pleases, I suppose,
But don't you think that these lyrics, it kind of reminds me of The Giving Tree, by Shel Silverstein a little bit, where, you kind of, in that thing, this boy, he gets stuff from this tree. This tree helps him out throughout his life, and he kind of neglects the tree as he grows up and grows older. And
sure,
there's some
but then the tree at the end, provides a sitting place as a stoop. A stump provides a sitting place for this once kid, now as an old man.
Right.
That's one of my favorite books. I got to
sure,
say.
And it's a children's book. It's a sad. Almost bittersweet kind of book, and this is kind of makes you feel the same way. There's something how just you growing up and just
sure, but
kind
it's
of
not
neglecting what's most important in life.
I guess, but I don't know. I don't quite think of it as the same thing. I think it's just kind of The Giving Tree to me more is about like a child that. It's like a parent giving to the child over its life and just kind of as a kid, as you're growing up, you're a kid. You're not recognizing the trees, well, at least in this case.
The forest for the trees.
No. You're not recognizing, or you kind of take for granted what this person in your life is offering you or is giving you, and then...
That's the same kind of thing with this, in a way. You're
Not
taking
really.
for granted a relationship that
I know, but
should have been there,
Yes, but I think in this case, it's the father that's doing that.
It's not exactly. I'm not. I know. I'm not. You're saying. I'm not saying it's exactly the same. I'm just saying it gives me the same kind of feeling, of almost sadness in a way,
of kind of regret in a way.
Yeah,
regret from neglect. But to me, it's more like the son. It's this learned behavior, this distance that he has with his father, and it's because his father was distant from him when he was growing up.
Sure, it's kind of like a cycle,
Or not, yeah, it's sort of, yeah, exactly.
I know, but I think you're trying to correct me on the specifics, but I'm not talking about the specifics,
Well, I know,
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think, yeah, okay, well, anyway. But there's much to be discussed. When he's talking about cats in the cradle, he's talking about the Cats in the Cradle, The Silver Spoon, The Little Boy Blue, and The Man on the Moon. Is he talking about like a What do they call it again?
one of those things that are above a baby's crib.
What is it called again?
I can't remember.
It's called
something.
Come on, you know what it's called.
I can't think of it.
It's called a
Kind of carousel kind of thing.
Yeah, but what is it? I gotta look it up.
Oh, you don't have to look that up.
Baby's what is it? A cribmobile. That's what it is.
I guess it's also a baby carousel. You know.
Sure, it is. But that wasn't the word I was looking for. I was looking for.
Anyway, those things. Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about. But it's
I think that's what it is. I think that's.
What is he trying to say with that? It's just
Little Boy Blue and the Man on the Moon.
Well,
maybe it's just this image that kind of stays in his head. That it's like this thing that's from when he was a baby, and he just can't. Well, I don't know. There's a whole lot one could kind of analyze, but why that's the repeating thing? Is it because he can't really remember anything else from his childhood?
Well, you mean anything with his dad beyond? Maybe this is the symbol. This is the only thing he remembers. Maybe that of a relationship with his dad is this.
Of his relationship with his son.
Well,
the narrator is the dad in this.
Right.
And so maybe this is all he can remember, or it's also this distance, this relationship started
the narrator is not just the dad. I think it switches off because it's Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon, Little Boy and the Man on the Moon, When You're Coming Home, Dad, I Don't Know When. In the beginning, it's like that, but then at the end, it's When You're Coming Home, Son, I Don't Know.
That's right.
It switches off.
Well, but but the verses, though, it is through the narrator of the dad the whole time.
Wait, is it?
Wait, let's see. Yeah, my child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way. But there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking for I knew it. And as he grew, he'd say, "I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you." So that's all through the narration of the father.
Okay, so and the Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon, Little Boy Blue and the Man in the Moon, When You're Coming Home, Dad, I Don't Know When.
So that's
maybe the narrator is quoting the son.
The narrator is perhaps quoting the son, and that's like.
So When You're Coming Home, Dad, and then he says, "I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad."
When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know.
You're coming home, Dad, and then he says, "I don't know when,
but we'll get together again. We'll have a good time." I see. I always thought it was When You're Coming Home, Dad. It's almost like the kid is saying it to himself. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when. It's like he's just constantly thinking, I don't know when he's coming home. I thought that's how I was interpreting it.
Anyway, this is a great song. Man, it gives me shivers every time, no matter how many times I've listened to it.
Anyway, I think that'll do this for this reaction video.
If you like what you heard and saw today, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ding that post notification bell to find out about more Max and Nicky reaction videos.
Please keep tuning in.